It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into a slew of games for tomorrow because this is the first week, and I'm going to go into it in a second, where there's a particular metric I use, and it helped us tremendously through the NFL season, NCAA basketball, football, but you can't use it at the very first week, and I'm going to go into why. Now, this game here has nothing to do with the metric, but this one's all narratives, and you can see both teams are undefeated. 19th ranked versus 10th ranked. I don't remember the last time I've seen teams that are not that far apart in rankings where the spread was this much. Furthermore, obviously, you got the Hunter injury. I think the whole thing was staged so they can explain away why the Buffaloes are not going to beat the Ducks nor the Trojans. That's just my opinion, but it does seem like a very convenient injury. So, in this game, I've been off on Deion so far. I mean, last week we kind of nailed it live, unfortunately. Unless you're in my Discord or paying attention to if I comment on a post or something, I'll reply sometimes in the middle of the game. There's really not much I can do. Some of it is just you have to see the script. So, once you saw it was 28-20 and Colorado State started selling, even before that. But at that point, then they punted the ball. Just lunacy. Colorado plus odds. That's when most people, again, if I can get it out to my Discord, I do. But a lot of it's live. But we can still do what we can prior to the game, again, using narrative, spreads, all that stuff. So, in this case, can't think of a person in the world that's going to be taking Oregon minus 21. It's just not appealing at all. What's appealing is Colorado, who's played really good and been in every game or won every game, getting 3 touchdowns. What's equally appealing is taking the money line, and you're going to get about 7-1. That's why I think there's not a chance in hell Colorado wins. With the narrative, they definitely paid the public in week 1 and 2. Week 3, a lot of them probably had Colorado covering with the whole Deion's mom shenanigan, where they tried to get everybody really thinking Colorado was going to blow them off the field. And I thought they were, because I thought that was the narrative. But this week, I think, is different. And I'm going to go into why. We got a different Deion. He's, instead of talking a bunch of trash and saying, this coach said we didn't win anything, which he did, by the way. He's like, I respect him. He's done so much. I look up to him. There's not a lot of guys I look up to. So it's very interesting. Deion, the 3 games he won, he's talking trash. He's making up stories, essentially. A comment about the guy's glasses turned into his mother raised him wrong. And I get in a gist that's what the guy said, but not really. So it was pretty comical watching that. But in this case, we have a very passive Deion. We have a conveniently injured Hunter. And we have a public who's going to be taking Colorado because of Shedeur Sanders. So to me, this is a very, I don't want to say easy call, because Colorado's been very tough. But seeing what we've seen so far, I think Oregon wipes the floor with them. I think they carve their defense up. The offense still might do good for Colorado, and then they'll say, okay, well, without Hunter, the defense is really not too good, and they're going to have to find some adjustments, all these different things, where they can still look decently strong going into USC if they put up 20 to 30 points. And if USC doesn't have a slobber knocker of a game, that could also be the case. So I do like Oregon here for the cover. I think it's, again, I just think the public's going to be way too much on Colorado. And it's a daytime game, too. They snuck it in the daytime, 3 o'clock. So it's not noon, it's not prime time. Right in the middle when nobody's really watching. So to me, this is a perfect game for Deion to lose, and they'll just move right on by. It'll be like it never happened. So I think Oregon for the cover, minus 21. Now, I have a bunch of other games, but I'm not going to go into each individual one. I'm just going to explain why I like them. Now, this one I've decided, I like this one as a leg 2, which means it's going to be for 2 units, of course. Now, some people run into the issue now. It really shouldn't be because they play at different times. But when I have multiple plays, a lot of people will run into an issue where, they want to play all the plays, and they might not be able to at the exact same unit. You can always drop your unit amount if you need to, if you're playing two to 3 times more than we were the prior week. I will say going forward, we're going to be playing at least this many plays for the simple reason And we'll plug this in for the Ravens loss. I think that's fitting since that's another Deion team. But if you need to lower your units, that's fine. So, but say you're doing 25 and then we're doing 10, 15 plays in a week and 25 won't cut it for you, or it'll run it pretty thin. You could always drop it to 10, 15. A lot of people do $10, $15, or they just do about half what they would normally do on my college plays. So say they do 25 on a NFL play, they'll do $12.50 on a college. For the simple reason we play way more college, and it's for a reason. So anyway, there's more college teams for one. So I like Oregon here to cover. Results haven't happened yet, so I just put this so it's easy to come back to now. The rest of these are going to be simple leg ones, and like I said, they're not all playing at the same time, so it shouldn't be that difficult to play them. But I'm going to go into why I like them all. Okay, it's just going to be a quick shoot. Nevada covers Texas State, very simple. The spread. Texas State is undefeated against the spread. Nevada, I think they've won one game on the spread. Michigan covers Rutgers. Same deal. I picked it because Rutgers is perfect on the spread this year. Now you might ask, why am I fading teams perfect on the spread? If you don't know my channel, last year the reason we swept up doing college is because of this very reason. No team is going to finish undefeated on the spread. Very, very few will finish with a loss or two. Most teams, not most, but you'll have a handful with 2-3 losses against the spread. Sometimes you have an outlier with one loss, one win against the spread. The same applies to the over-under. So it doesn't mean we're going to hit these all now, but as leg ones, it's safe, and there's a good chance we split or better. So I like Nevada to cover, obviously, like I said. Michigan, I like them to cover minus the 25. I match these up perfectly with ESPN because that's the spread they use. So I use the ESPN official spread. So again, I know nothing about these teams. I'm picking just off my spread logic. Ole Miss is undefeated against the spread. Alabama's only covered it once. And again, this also means the public's more likely to take the team that is better against the spread. I like Alabama to cover that. And I like Vandy to cover Kentucky, plus 13.5. I like Stanford on the cover. And again, this is all the spread logic. You're not going to have, rolling into week 5 or 6, 24 teams that are undefeated against the spread. It's just not going to happen. It's always narrows out. Again, your best teams are usually a few of them in the 70 percentile, and your worst team is typically a few of them in the high teens. You're not going to get teams 5% against the spread, 90 something percent. It just doesn't happen. So, like I said, I like Arizona State is next. I like them to cover USC. And that goes kind of in with my theory. If USC doesn't look too strong, maybe there's an injury, then they can definitely explain Colorado looking like they could at least hang with them. The next two are over-unders, and it's FSU and Clemson. I like to go under. FSU hasn't gone under all year, and I think Clemson's only gone under once. So I think they start going under. And Vandy, Kentucky, so we were double playing that game. And that's 49.5. I'm playing the under there. I thought this would be a lot quicker because it's not about narratives. It's not about anything more than just fading teams good against the spread and taking teams bad against the spread. So that's really all we're doing. That's why for this one it's pretty simple. Now, as I had already said, so we got Oregon, Colorado. I had plugged in somewhere the 49ers. Now this is an interesting one. I made it a leg 2, even though there it is. Giants beat 49ers. Pays 5-1. Now it's about 4.5 to 1. I had gone into why I thought it might drop. It is still a 10.5. It moved to 10, then back to 10.5. So we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, nobody in the world thinks the Giants can win. I'm only picking this because of the long shot Deion theory, and I think it's interesting. Since I think he's going to lose this week, I think the teams he played on is going to lose with him. So that's about it. Like I said, it's nothing crazy. I just wanted to go into these. I don't like playing games just to play them. So yes, there's other games. Actually, some alpha tonight. Same reason. They are Coastal Carolina, who is undefeated against the spread. And honestly, taking the win wouldn't hurt. It's about 2-1. It's about a 5-6 point spread. So taking Georgia State the win wouldn't hurt because if they cover the spread there's a very good chance they could win as well, with it being a one-score game. So I'd look at that value, and I like the Georgia State cover, and I I do like the win too. So that's a game tonight if you wanted to get into that. But tomorrow there's like Wisconsin and stuff, some Purdue, some other games, and they're just not. None of them fall in that metric, so I'm not playing them. So that's it for college. I did this so we can do the NFL pick 'em. Obviously, I'll have that out later tonight, maybe tomorrow, but that way we'll have some time to go over the NFL games. There's a couple that I really, really like, but I wanted to make this quick and just basically I'll show you guys. Anyone that hasn't seen it, if you go to team rankings, I can go back 10, 15, 20 years. You're not going to find teams. Start. I couldn't have started in week 1 because you do have dozens of teams start off undefeated or winless against the spread on the over, under, etc. But now we're at a time where we can start. This is where I started last year. I might have even started week 5. I can't remember. The NFL I started week 3 or 4. I can't remember. I know the Falcons were like 5-0, and I started fading them. And then by the 7th week, they had lost. The last team to lose against the spread. I think the first team was, or the team that took the longest to cover might have been Denver. I think they were like 0-4 or something. But either way, it's a very good metric, and it's worked for us very well before. I don't think it's a coincidence. Our absolute best season has been college basketball, and in college basketball, I know nothing, way less than the other sports. I just went off the spread metric, and we got burned by a couple teams. Like Tulsa burned us a bunch of times, but it was easily mitigated, and we profited immensely because of the 10 and 11 teams that I was taking that did hit finally. So you'll have some that just continue, and they're like the one outlier, and again, they're not going to be 5%, but they might be like 12% or something. But yeah, college basketball, we did it. It worked really well, and I have no doubt it's going to work very well again for college football. So again, I'll have my NFL picks out later, and take care and happy earnings.